I suck at reading. I know that's a bit of a dramatic statement, but that's what I've told myself ever since childhood to when I sit in front of you today. I have a pile of books next to me that I've been compiling over, I would say, probably the past maybe 10 years. I bought this book a number of years ago when we were on vacation as a family while I was still living at home. Shortly after I watched the movie 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I had the great intentions of actually sitting down and reading this book, but it never really came to fruition. And I think partially that is because of the language I use when I encounter something difficult. I think we are all to some degree guilty of this, that when we encounter something that's uncomfortable, when we encounter something that is maybe not our favorite thing to do, we simply say, I'm bad at that. And this is really manifested in reading, but is also really manifested itself in school. So when I was growing up, I was bad at math. I told myself I was bad at math. I was bad at reading. It really stemmed from the language I was using, and still am using to this day, surrounding these things that I feel are very important. I think reading is such an important and lost art. This fascination with reading, I have to thank my wife for it, because she has been reading for years and years and years and years as a hobby and has picked it up very seriously recently. And I mean, she can finish a book of this size or even bigger within maybe a couple of days. Something that I really struggled to do, but I'm really bad at. So I'd really like to go down this rabbit hole of things I'm bad at, but not necessarily things that I'm bad at, but things that I've told myself that I am bad or have the inability to do, and therefore I'm limiting myself to the language that I'm using. Probably about a year and a half ago, I took an assessment and was diagnosed with ADHD. And I think I took to that and went, oh, so this all makes sense. I felt like being diagnosed with ADHD kind of answered a lot of those questions for me. And something I do want to say is that I have no certification, no education as far as diagnosing or the symptoms of ADHD. I only have my own personal experience. There's a good chance that a lot of the struggles that I felt like stemmed from ADHD are actually the language that I'm using surrounding these certain struggles, like reading. And I want to see how far I can take that in a healthy manner, because I know suppressing certain attributes of just the way that my brain works can become unhealthy. I think it's called masking these certain traits and ignoring the way that my brain works can become detrimental. But I want to see how far I can take this idea that the language that I am using surrounding a skill or a perceived inability is affecting my skill or certain skills. That includes reading or really anything that involves academics. And now that I'm an adult, I'm married, I have kids, I have a job, I want to continue my education just in reading. You know, this is a pile of C.S. Lewis, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, more C.S. Lewis, 1984 by George Orwell, Biblical Theology of the Old Testament, The Man Who Was Thursday by G.K. Chesterton. I'm trying to remember if I read this book or if I listen to the audiobook. I can't remember. Either way, my wife, while we were dating, bought me this book because she knew I really enjoyed it. It's a fascinating book. But then the last one here in this pile that I've already started reading is Archaeology and Bible History by Joseph P. Free. All of these books I would like to get through, but I really would like to explore what might actually be going on, what I think is a perceived inability or a perceived struggle that really stems from the language that I'm using when I look at a pile of books and I look at this and go, I am bad at this. I am bad at sitting down and reading. When in reality, for functional purposes, whether it be at work, whether it be reading text, I can read just fine. I think it would be really interesting to figure out if I'm actually bad at reading or have I just simply been telling myself that I'm bad at this thing and haven't spent any time sharpening that skill. Now, will I be as good at reading as my wife is? Maybe, maybe not. But if I don't try, I'll never find out. So that's what we're going to focus on a little bit. And right now, the great medium of reading is what we're going to use to experiment with this. So we'll see. You're going to come along with me on this journey. The books I'm reading, how far I've gotten through them. I should really honestly find one that I haven't really started or even restart a book so that I can give you a progress report on a daily or, every so often basis or weekly updates. Let's find out together if I'm limiting myself through the language I'm using, or do I really just suck at reading? We're going to find out together. Thank you everybody for watching. And I'm really excited for this next phase of this project and to see where it goes, and hopefully fairly soon read through this entire pile of books. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video.